Everybody. The bakeries have made cakes for us. Laura's have sent us flowers. We got a beautiful bouquet on the desk. And Bobby's house. And hello there. Oh, I read it. Join the party. This is Van Loo. How do you do? This is Van Loo. Came to the old library. She's 96.
96, about 90 years ago.
90 years ago, yes.
I could just read the primer.
Oh, wow.
I love the library.
Oh, good.
And they wouldn't let me take a lot, more than 1 or 2 books.
They wouldn't let you take more than, well, now we have more books, I think. And this is my person that's been in charge of the, this is,
very nice to meet you. Thank you for coming.
This is Maureen Cartwell, and this is Mrs. Van Loo, and this is her daughter.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, thank you for coming down.
Well, 90 years ago, my mom
came to the library.
Papers came. Oh, I love the library. We lived over here on Love Street, right next to St. Louis.
Perfect location,
wasn't it? My mother grew up on the campus of St. Louis.
Oh, for heaven's sakes, wonderful.
And when I got the book, I read it through, and I came back to see if I couldn't have another one. Oh no, one wasn't.
Oh, that's awful. No, we wouldn't do that.
Now it's 10 or as many as you can carry.
As many as Mother says you can have. Right.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I'd like you to meet our artist over here. I'd like to meet David.
Okay. Hello. Nice to see you.
This is Mrs. Van Loo.
Nice to meet
I
you.
think probably our oldest person here tonight.
Nice to meet you.
My mother's 96.
Oh, great, great.
I was born in 1900.
Well,
That's, oh, sure was. That's great. Glad to have you tonight. We could take your jacket, your coat, rather, so you can more comfortable.
We'll get that folded up again. We have to do that regularly.
If you would like, you can get in a pile here.
But here we have,
Thank you. I love. Okay.
these are our handouts. And when we must get about, yes, both of you.
Are they a donation?
Yes, they don't need, they're free.
Oh, thank you.
That's beautiful.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Orient or something. Oh, that's fine.
Okay. There.
Oh, well, did you get one for me? Yes, it's on your lapel.
Okay. Oh, right there.
Mr. Small and I do too.
Hello.
Hello.
Sarah, this is Annetta Van Loo, who's 96, who used the old library and remembers stuff in the library.
And I love this library.
So do
We lived
I.
over here on Love Street.
I wanted,
And we didn't have a lot of books and things. We had, my mother and father were from Holland, and they had a little magazine, the Huisvriend, that meant the house friend. But of course that didn't mean anything to us, and so we didn't have very much in the way of magazines or children's things, but we library. My mother was the first child.
That's where I spent most of my time as a child, was in our neighborhood library.
Neighborhood.
In the neighborhood library. There was one 4 blocks from my home, and that's what I did. I went to the library. I'm so glad you could come.
Well, thank you for welcoming us so well.
this is Annetta Van Loo, who's 96. Time she was sick.
Athena Books get through us? I'm not sure.
Don't you? Athena Books. Athena Bookstore.
I don't know. I came here real often to get books. So we live
I think you have been at Athena Bookstore to buy a book
Oh,
in the past.
oh, evidently.
And I think we met you there.
Oh, could that be?
Could be. Maybe our memory isn't so good.
My mother's at the Merrill now.
Yes, that's a lovely place.
And Christina used to be
Down below in the basement. At the Marlboro. The basement of the Marlboro. I wrote a little story about that place.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I went by there at the Merrill to go to school, but I don't remember anything about the library. What could that be?
Well, now that library, don't connect that with that old bookstore, because that was my talking about my neighborhood library. There's no reason to confuse that with the old Merrill. Thank you. Now that's for you.
All right.
And I think you should have a bookmark.
That's right.
For your mini books.
My mother still loves to read, but we did learn she has some macular degeneration, but she still reads the paper at least.
May we all live to 96 as well.
Yes, and she's been playing piano for the services there.
Good for you. David Small plays the piano when he's not drawing.
And the author.
My husband he wrote and illustrated, he has written and illustrated many books, among them this character, Imogene, and Imogene's Aunt. She graces the cover of the bag in this bookmark. She's a nice celebratory character for this anniversary.
Is that in Kalamazoo then?
Imogene's Antlers is a book that's all over the world, in fact. She has been on television.
She said Reading Rainbow.
In Reading Rainbow, a lovely program.
Oh, really? Okay, I'll watch it. I used to read to my children. You might just.
It's a little. This only came out about 15 years ago.
Imogene is 10 or 11 years old. I think she came out in 1985.
My girls were grown up. The gray hair. College. Mother, would you care to share with these folks about the Van Duzens? My granddad was sexton at the St. Luke's Church. And
That's the church that's my mother church, although we live 30 miles.
Oh, really? Well, there was a home for the sexton on the campus.
There was?
Right. And my mother lived her first, we lived there 11 years, 10 years.
For heaven's sake.
Oh, we had a happy childhood there, right near the car.
Right next to the church and near the car.
And then nice green lawns.
What a lovely place to grow up.
Oh, yeah, she's a downtown person. But anyway, 5 years, she was 5 years old, and one night, Grandpa Sternberg was working for a Halloween party in the parish hall, and his wife was having a baby, he thought, and there were 2 girls, and the times were tough. He was an immigrant without a trade or profession, but he was happy at St. Luke's. But anyway, the Van Duzens were members there, and here came a great big, you must tell. Well, they brought baskets full of nice clothing from their children, I guess. All washed and starched, beautiful baby clothes.
And beautifully presented.
And
Clean and
you see,
starched.
those babies were unexpected, 2 of them. And not expected. And they're both, Alice has been a teacher at Central High School, and Bess, they were twins. Bess was the younger children. She taught in fine streets.
Hurrah for them. So they've given a lot back to life.
But the point was that the Van Duzens were very generous in other areas.
Yes, and the room was named for them.
Yes.
So that's the reason we're talking about all this.
Clothing, baby clothing came. Unexpected twins. Well, anyway.
Thank you for that. It's a lovely memory.
Let's have some.
And Mother Goose, thank you for bringing them up to us.
Oh, thank you for your...
May you have many more good years.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Happy New Year.
Nice seeing you. Happy New Year. Nice meeting you. Happy New Year.
And what is your name?
Sarah Stewart.
Sarah Stewart. I went to school at Ernestine Prentice and Harry Hill and the others. In her kindergarten class was Irving Gilmore. Yes, that's right.
He was a friend of mine. So see, the circle comes round.
Do I
He would be
understand that you live
96.
in Mendon?
He has a,
Claudia?
I'm sorry he died.
yes.
Bye-bye. For Father Libera.
I was there on the
He's only 24. Not quite.
Arthur was a young man who was a music the organist there. All right, boys, they would be playing ball on the bank until he got ready to. All right, boys, come on in.
Sounds familiar.
Did you know there was a home for the sexton on the campus?
I did know that. Yeah. I was on the
Thank you.
vestry for a while.
Oh, were you?
Yes, right. And my husband is in the bunny rabbit costume. He was also on the vestry too.
What years?
Undersized books.
Undersized books. Ask Gloria. She's
What do you think? Should we get some juice out? Okay, you can sit. You want cookies or cake?
Well, have you had a good turnout at all the branches? And
We've had probably about 100 at each one.
oh my, that's good.
Hi, Charles. How are you? Good, how are you?
And does the name McKee, Miss McKee,
That are in keeping with 1927.
1927 Tudor architecture.
Right, they're keeping beautiful. They're bringing in beautiful light fixtures.
Oh,
and
good.
Taking down the old ones. They're polishing down the woodwork. They do have to do something with the floor, but what they're doing, they're not putting the same linoleum. They're putting carpeting. But everything else is going to be kept the way it was supposed to be.
Good.
Plus, some of the things that are in the old plans, they're going to put into effect.
Oh, good.
But it's going to take a while to get
That's
done.
the architectural jewel of the Edison neighborhood.
Right, right.
For the last 51 years, we have owned on Eggleston Avenue, and I'm active in the Edison neighborhood. That and the windows of St. Joseph Church are beautiful from Germany. And we have a couple historic markers, of course, which was just defaced on our street, a historical marker. A platoon of Union soldiers met at the fairgrounds. Eggleston Avenue was once fairgrounds.
Oh my goodness.
And they met there and made camp before they went to the Civil War.
I'll be down.
And that was just pried off, but the Historical Society is going to replace it, I guess.
Wouldn't want to lose that part of the story.
Well, yes.
Well, they retiled the roof with
Yes.
I
watched that.
Yeah, I mean it's going to last for another 50 years, which roofs don't last.
It went on and on, I noticed. The job was...
So many nooks and crannies on that roof.
I know it.
So we're very excited about
good.
that.
Well, it serves a number of schools. The Washington Square branch serves a number of schools.
Not just Washington and Edison and St. Joseph.
Joe and you said Washington and let's see, there's
Millwood.
Millwood and Greenwood even. Greenwood.
Right. Well, it's a big area there. A lot of children. So we're very excited about it.
It's nothing if you go downtown, do the shopping for Mother.
What school did you go to?
Vine Street. And that was just new because it had burned. And I was in the first new building of the Vine Street School.
Wow.
Irving Gilmore was one of my classmates.
Kindergarten.
Kindergarten, you were in kindergarten with Irving Gilmore.
Oh, you forgot to tell about his teddy bear, Irving Gilmore's teddy bear.
Yes, he brought a teddy bear to school.
And that's before battery operated.
Yes, it was paws, the light was in the
No, you squeeze the paws.
squeeze the paws and then the light would go
eyes.
on. Eyes and the little paw too.
the eyes would turn on if you squeezed the paw. Isn't that the way
Well,
you
maybe
said?
so.
It was your
I
story.
don't remember real detail, but I know that you squeeze the little paws, and then I guess it was right. Then the
Eyes
would go out.
light up. And,
And
his papa had gotten it in New York City?
Yes, he made a trip.
About-
And then he would, as kids, you walked home, we smashed the ice and water and so forth. He talked about his father being in New York, and he talked about uptown and downtown. I remember Irving saying that.
And that meant nothing to you.
But no, but another to us, Kalamazoo, we didn't know anything about that. But his father had been on a buying trip, and they asked his father, did he want to go uptown or downtown? I guess he didn't know either.
No. Oh, that's...
Did he show musical talent?
Oh, yes.
Even as a boy?
Yes, he did. He was a nice boy. Of course, he went on to school, beyond high
Private
school
school.
to private school.
Because we have a lot of people here.
But
Hundreds of people.
no kids had battery-operated toys.
No, not at that
Except
point.
Irving.
Well, that's...
He would take them to school,
Show and tell.
When did you start coming to the library?
When I could read, 6th grade, I guess.
No, 6 years old, I think.
6 years old.
Well,
6 years old, Mom.
6
First grade would be 6 years old.
yeah, well, I could read a little bit because I could get a little book,
Yeah, that would be 1906, wouldn't it? If you were born in 1900, it'd be 1906.
Yes. And I could read them through, and then one day, and want to go back and exchange it, but no, I could only have one book.
One book a day.
So you had to come to the library every day.
Yes, but we live nearby.
So do you remember the name of the librarian that you had? That's right.
I said it.
Kerr.
That's right,
Fanny
Miss
Kerr?
Kerr.
Miss
Fanny
Kerr?
Kerr.
Yeah.
Mhm. She had a little walk, particularly walk.
She always did, even when she got older.
Do you remember that too?
Well, I met her when I came here, which was 25 years ago. And on our 90th, well, she didn't live for our 90th birthday, but my mother-in-law and she happened to be the same age. And she used to come down to see us down here, and she was in her 90s, but she had a cute little walk. Yeah, and she was still a tiny little person. And she was, she told wonderful stories from everything I'd read and heard from people. So she came down, and I said, we were having a party for her. And I said, well, would you like to tell some stories? And she said, no. I do not remember them anymore, so we would go.
Let it go at that.
We let it go at that. But she was a very sweet lady, and she used to call me.
She is.
Yes, here's the goose.
Even the goose.
Even the goose too, of course,
It's
Ellen.
having a bit of juice.
The
Yes.
goose is having some juice.
Yes, the goose is having some juice.
Here, you want? Does the goose want a little more for the
all right.
record? For the record.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, there
Oh,
we are.
look at her.
There we are.
There. I think she's had enough now. Don't want any accidents. I mean, after all.
And what connection are you with the library?
The children's librarian, Mom.
The children's library.
Yes, I have the same position that Miss Kerr had.
Miss Kerr. Oh, how I remember her so
Good,
well.
good.
She had a peculiar little gait.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
remember?
yeah, I know that. Even that stayed with her all her life.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she was
Oh,
in her
and she was
90s.
nice.
Very nice lady,
Pleasant to the
yes.
children.
Mom, can you remember any books or series of books that you would borrow?
Well, I know the Dolly.
Dolly Dimple.
Yeah, Dolly Dimple was
Dolly
it?
Dimple? Yeah, I think.
There was a little series.
Uh-huh. We have, Ellen, could you come over here for a minute, please? Ellen Howard is one of our authors that lives in Kalamazoo. And this is Annetta Van Loo, who's 96, who came to the old library.
Oh, for heaven's
Okay,
sake.
started coming when she was 6. And this is her Sternberg then. and
Helen
this is-
Van Loo is my name.
You're Ellen? Helen. I'm Ellen. Okay. I'm called Helen about that all the time, so I bet you get called Ellen.
She did not have a lot of toys and
My
lots
mother was
of, we had a good
the first
life,
child
but I
of
mean,
an
we did
immigrant
not
family.
have surplus of
My
anything.
granddad was sexton
And
of
the
St.
books,
Luke's
oh,
Church,
how
and
much
there was
they
a
meant
house
to
on the
me.
campus of St. Luke's.
And
so
my
it was
mother
right
was a
downtown.
reader.
Good.
And my mother was
she
the first child.
Could read the
They had a lot
Holland,
of books
the
at home.
Holland language. She had that.
So she was a
And she
good
wanted me to know that, but I didn't really want to
You
spend
didn't want
time
to,
with
you
that.
wanted to stick to English.
Well, Mrs. Rife is certainly making us feel welcome.
That's wonderful. Chuck said when we left tonight, I wonder if Mary will be dressed as Mother Goose, and you are.
With your goose.
Today is Chuck's birthday, too.
Oh my
We're celebrating 100 years of this weekend.
Not quite yet, no.
I have a ways to go.
That's good.
Yes. It's nice to share birthdays,
It
though.
is nice to share birthdays. We'll never think of a library birthday, but we'll
Without
think of your birthday, Chuck.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, let's get some cake here.
Yes, we have cake and punch, library punch, of course. Yes, you're probably going to have library punch and everything this year.
We live on Eggleston. I mean, I live in my mother's house.
Where's the candle?
Oh, yes, the fairgrounds, I didn't quite understand. I told that the county fair was on Eggleston, and our backyard is like this. It kind of slopes like this, rounded, and one old timer says that's the racetrack.
On the break end of Eggleston?
No, we're on the other side of Portage. We're on the east side of Portage.
Toward the factory?
Yes, toward the factory.
Yes, but I grew up in Reed.
You did.
Cameron.
Well, the racetrack would have been encompassed.
See, they used to make the old Romer car down there at that end of
I understand that somebody said to it, one little boy said to another little boy, that's not the cat. Cats don't wear earrings.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Maybe that racetrack was a test track or something.
I don't know.
I just don't remember the fairgrounds. The fairgrounds, as I remember them, were more out on the end of Burdick where the circus used to go.
Oh,
Detroit has
Well,
extensive language
there was a
Detroit Public Library, and they do loan
filly that was
different language collections to different libraries in the state. We have recently had some demand on Japanese books, because we have a lot of foreign students at Western, and we have a lot of Japanese apparently who work for like Upjohn Pharmacia. And we've also needed Iranian, or rather, Arabic language books, and we have gotten them from Detroit. And you like borrow them for maybe 3 months, and then you send them back, and they're sending another collection. So that all the libraries don't have to buy them. They're hard to get. And also, you don't have a lot of demand for them. You do have some. So, and we have had, I think we have Dutch ones in our collection ourselves, rather than, but if we needed to, we could borrow.
In those days, you had to collect. You didn't just.
It's a nice resource to have.
My mother was quite a reader. She'd had some schooling in Kalamazoo when she came. She could read English too. But she liked some of the Dutch books.
Ray and Camera and James.
James or the Netherlands. Of course, we hated it.
What is it, James or Race?
We don't want anything to do with that.
You didn't want anything to do with the
James.
No.
James and Eggleston.
Well, it's sort of hard.
And yet we had aunts in the Netherlands who had gone to school and they were off in education. But
That's right where the.
we were on this side of the pond.
Right. Well, when my grandmother came from Italy and from Sicily, and my mother was, I think, 7 years old when she came. And, it was
Could she learn the language?
Oh, very well.
Her block, I think.
Yes, I guess they
Oh,
both
is
learned
it?
it very. Now, the thing that surprised them, they went to a birthday
Oh,
party, and I think this was like about
see.
1911,
Because I've seen it.
and it was when Jell-O first came out, and the lady had made Jell-O molds and little animals, and they shimmered. They didn't sit straight. They moved. And my mother was very much afraid to eat it. You know, it was Jell-O. She didn't know what this was. It was shaking, you know.
Oh, that was a real treat.
Yes,
It
it
was
was
served on festive occasions.
right. And so it was their friend's birthday, and the mother had made these Jell-O molds. But she too, my aunt tells me where they didn't, when they were kids, they didn't want to speak Italian. They only wanted to speak English because they were now here.
Oh, yes.
Yes, so you know, you have that feeling. You want to become part of where you are, and I think it's very easy. It's a very natural way, normal way of feeling.
They had the Dutch language yet in the Reformed Church.
Right.
For many of the people that came, you know, beloved language, you know, and the church meant so much to them. We hated it, of course.
Well, you were starting a new life in a new country, so that made a difference.
Mother, isn't it true that the books you would bring home, Grandma would read?
Oh, yes.
She'd read all the books and extend her horizons.
Right. Well, sure. It was a good way of sort of practicing your English.
She had been here since, as a girl, but her formal education was very limited in the celery fields of Portage Center and all, and early out of the nest to work and all that sort of thing, you know, and so she read your textbooks and your library books.
Well, that was a good way of learning and getting yourself more.
Shall I
Yes,
relieve
I
you?
just go. Okay,
okay.
Thank you. There is a waste paper.
Oh, okay, thank you.
It's very good. Thank you. I don't. Who made it?
Just the main library here.
Well, was that old Van?
She was in the old one. The old one.
And I remember Mr. What was his name? Say it. You started to say it. The name of the. He gave money for
Van Dusen, I thought. Mr. Van Dusen. Dr. Van Dusen.
I remember him.
Yeah.
He went to the.
She was in kindergarten with Irving Gilmore.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
If he lived, he would be 96. Uncle Irving.
Uncle Irving, right.
And now this is just child's visit, but as we walked along Southwest Edge, the ice, rainy, wet days, and then he would say, this was the Pacific Ocean, and this was the Atlantic Ocean, and I had no idea what that meant. But of course, his parents had traveled. I remember him saying his mother had been to New York, and they said uptown there, or somebody had asked his mother, did she want to go uptown or downtown? And that she was, you know, a little baffled by that. But Irving said that to us as we came walking up Southwest.
You want to go uptown or downtown, huh?
We lived here on Lovell Street, and he lived on South Street.
Yeah, the old house with the Red Cross.
The Red Cross house.
Red Cross.
Next door to
Was next door to that?
had his mother married an Upjohn yet, or how does that?
Oh, I guess it was something.
Came later.
That came later,
Yes.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm sure you've seen a lot of kids' libraries.
And she knew Miss Kerr, Fanny Kerr Walton.
Oh, yes.
That was her first librarian.
Was it really?
Wow. And Mother, what about some other books? Dolly Dimple, and you always have, for years, have preferred nonfiction, but when you were a kid?
Well, I think that was a church library, Dolly Dimple. Maybe not.
No, that was one of the popular ones in 1890.
It was here.
Did you ever read Elsie Dinsmore?
Yes,
I
yes.
cried
yes.
over that.
Oh, yes.
And what's another one? Mildred and something else. There was somebody named Mildred. My mother had those books that I couldn't read. But Elsie Dinsmore, I remember.
Elsie Dinsmore.
And you
I don't know
loved
where that's
Heidi. Heidi.
Oh,
yes.
yes. Well, there weren't the books then, were there? Even when we were growing up, there weren't that many books.
No.
Helen is
And-
taught in New York, or, no, Detroit.
For 25 years, I was in Grosse Pointe in public school.
You were there at the library.
Did you know, can't think of his first name. Last name is Chrisley.
Oh, Ward is my special friend.
Okay. Well, I know Ward well.
Is that right?
Yes.
Oh,
Very good. Very good friends with his brother and sister-in-law.
We never met over here. He went to State High. Over in Grosse Pointe, we met.
Oh, really? Well, now he tutored in the Salvation Army. He tutored. Yeah. He lives in, doesn't he live in,
Cooper Township.
Cooper Township, right.
Right.
Yeah, and he tutored there.
On a
He's
farm.
an Iranian man. He was a Latin teacher, right?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, he was a Latin
Warren
teacher.
from Youth Academy. Well, he called one to tutor, and I had this Iranian man whose son we were tutoring.
And that man was very appreciative.
Oh, yes, he was.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he was. They moved to California, though.
Oh, did they?
The family moved.
I wonder if Ford knows that. I'll have to tell him.
Well, they had a daughter moved out there, and the long-distance phone calls were so expensive, they decided it was once a day, and they decided they might as well
Once a
move.
day? Wow.
Once a day.
Oh, my.
Probably not 5 minutes each time.
I don't imagine, no. Well, I've discovered that Iranians don't leave their families, they live there. And so the fact that the daughter moved, well, she should have still been at home.
Is it your son who did the window for a congregational church?
Oh,
And also the windows?
And the windows here.
And have they been carefully preserved?
Yes, they're in the mole hole right now.
yeah, you can see them as you walk
You
down
can
the
see them
street.
as you walk down the street.